So my favorite band and the exact moment I discovered the band. If I'm gonna say my favorite band is probably Unit Six. Um, the first moment I discovered them. I'm not exactly sure of the exact moment. I do know that I was looking at a blog on the internet and it had a title "Nasty Habits," which is one of their song titles. And a couple weeks later, I went to go Google the blog just to read it again, and it came up that it was a Unit 6 song title, so I decided that I would download all of Take Off Your Colours, which was the album they had out at the time, and I fell in love with it since then, really. I've been a fan since then. Who are the members in the band? Dan Flint, Chris Miller, Matt Barnes, Josh Franceschi, and Max Hellier. My top 10 to 20 favorite bands. I can't really narrow it down because there are so many, so I figured I'd just kind of list off some of my favorites. Obviously, Unit 6, La Dispute, City and Colour, Set Your Goals, Man Overboard, Young Guns, The Academy is Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, Jimmy Eat World, Cobra Starship, All Time Low, Panic at the Disco. There are so many that I can't really name them all, but they're some of my favorites at least. Do you remember yourself before you discovered your favorite bands? I don't think I really had a myself before I discovered my favorite bands because I was too young. I've always had such a heavy music influence from my parents. I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin, Queen, Metallica, AC/DC. So from a very young age, I've always had the musical influence that kind of led up to me trying to discover my outside the mainstream bands, I guess. So I think that was definitely a massive influence that I had in discovering some of my favorite bands. My first concert, that would have been Cobra Starship, Our City, and Amy Meredith, respectively, on the 17th of March 2010, I think it was. So it was a couple of years back now, and Cobra Starship was my favorite band at the time. So for me to have that as an introduction to my into the live music scene, it was definitely obviously a heavy influence. Having that as my favorite, my first concert. So my latest concert was the main New Found Glory this time next year, and Taking Back Sunday on Friday. So it wasn't that long ago now, but it was an amazing night and definitely worth the 4 a.m. wake up. My favorite concert, that's a kind of toss up between either Soundwave 2011, just because it's my first festival, had an amazing vibe to it. Definitely an amazing introduction to the Soundwave tour, especially. It was my second real concert after Cobra, so it was my second time seeing international bands live, and it definitely gave me the reassurance of me wanting to go see bands live and get into the live music scene. So I think just the overall experience me made it one of my favorites. Either that or when I saw My Chemical Romance. I've been listening to My Chem since I was probably about 10, 11, so 7 or 8 years now that I've been listening to them. And then I missed out on getting a ticket to see them, so obviously I was really upset. I cried a lot over it. And so much went wrong for me thinking that I wasn't going to be able to see them. And even on the day that I was there, but I got given a ticket by one of my friends, Angela, and I think everything going wrong with me not getting a ticket and all the drama that went down at the venue on the day, I think definitely made the concert so much better and so much more worth the drama when it came down to it, making the overall experience just something that words can't really explain, especially for me, because I listened to My Chem for ages, and them being such a heavy influence and a lot of the time really relevant, I guess, lyric-wise. So it was the four men that I put so much faith into from the age 10 to now, standing a couple of meters away from me, singing the songs that always seemed relevant. And again, I guess meeting their lead singer Gerard Way definitely made it even more surreal just because it was something I never thought I'd get to do. How long have you waited in line? 14 hours is my personal best for My Chemical Romance. Definitely worth it. I met so many amazing people that day, shared my stories, heard stories about people who'd seen the band live before, people who traveled interstate to see them, all this kind of stuff, and just it made the 14 hours go really quickly, even though it was in the rain, even though everyone was tired. We'd had 4 hours sleep the night before, but it was so worth it when we got in there. What is post-concert depression? For me personally, post-concert depression is the feeling of, I guess, numbness, or I guess sadness after you've seen a band live. For me, it's more so the excitement of leading up to the concert and the actual day. Just you always, whether you're counting down from 100 days when you bought the ticket or 50 or whatever, those days you always have something that you're looking forward to, something exciting, something that gives you the overall good feeling, something to look forward to, and then all of a sudden it's over, and it's just probably the worst feeling in the world, because you realize that you don't have it to look forward to anymore, and everything just kind of seems crappy in comparison after that. Have you seen your favorite bands live, and how many times? I've seen You Mix It 4 times now, hoping to make it 5 if they come back in September. Other than that, I've seen a lot of the bands that I've always wanted to see live. Definitely in the last couple of years, I've checked a lot of bands off the list of wanting to see live. Favorite song and favorite lyrics? By You Mix 6, my favorite song would probably have to be Tigers and Sharks, just because it seems so relevant, especially throughout high school with a lot of my friendship issues. Other than that, my favorite lyrics by them would probably be When in Front of You, I Feel Invincible, just because it's the most meaningful lyric to me, because my best friend who I met through the band, who has been there through so much with me, quoted it to me one day when I was feeling kind of crappy and I was having a bad day. And she said that it was relevant because when she was around me, I made her feel invincible, and it put me on top of the world. It's a lyric that'll always have meaning to me because of that. Besides You Mix 6, my favorite lyric would have to be I'm not afraid to keep on living. I'm not afraid to walk the plot alone. Which is my chem lyric, which I lived by for so long now, just to kind of get me through any struggles that I had from the time that I've listened to the band. Which band members have you met? In general, I've met pretty much every band that I've seen live. But You Mix 6 I've met twice now, the full band, and I've also met Josh and Max 3 times. So yeah, I've met them a fair few times. They're always amazing. They're always so nice. Surreal moments with the band. I think for me, watching my friend Emily, who was beside me as we walked through the signing table at Soundwave, she was crying her eyes out because she was so happy to meet them. And security basically told us that we were allowed to get hugs or photos with the band. And she got to Josh and she was still crying her eyes out, and he turned to her and asked her, he was like, there's no words to describe his feeling. And she kind of just shook her head, and he stood up and hugged her for like a minute or so. So that was kind of a surreal moment for me, is seeing him do that for her and make sure she was okay and trying to get her to calm down, just because it obviously would have meant a lot for her. For me personally, I think my favorite, my most surreal moment was standing around the Tivoli with Josh Franceschi and getting into a kind of pretend fight in front of Josh, and he was thinking with Trixie, and him thinking it was real, and it just, to have him kind of notice us, like, even in that way, was kind of a surreal moment for me. How have they inspired you? For me, especially through high school, especially through my senior year of high school, where there were times that I didn't want to do it anymore, I just gave up with high school. The fact that I got to see You Mix 6 twice in that year, I guess, made it for me, well, not yeah, I got to see them that year made it, for me personally, it made it so much easier to get through because there was always something I could look forward to. It was like I could wake up and have the most crappy day at high school, but it would be okay because I was seeing Uni at 6. Or it's okay because I could go home and listen to them and forget about the day, you know? It didn't matter. As soon as I walked in the door, as soon as I stuck my iPod in my ears and listened to them, none of it, nothing else mattered. It was just me and the music, really. How have they inspired your future? For me, I don't think there would be a future without Uni at 6. Just because, especially through my last 2 years of high school, I struggled so much and did so much stupid stuff that I regret in a lot of ways. And I took it out on myself, and I took a lot of things out of myself in this year's. I felt like a failure to everyone, I guess. And for me, being able to have them with relevant lyrics and to be able to see them to kind of break the tension of school at times was, or even home life at the time was such a big thing for me because it was like it doesn't matter, you know. As I said before, it doesn't matter as soon as you stick your headphones in and listen to them, you can drown out the rest. For you know, even if it's for 4 minutes or so, as long as you have that time, everything becomes so much easier. And their concerts gave me something to live for, I guess, when I didn't see a point in it anymore. You know, I was failing high school. I was an emotional wreck a lot of the time, and I just felt like crap. It was okay because if I kept going, I could see Umi at 6. And as petty as it sounds that it was a band that was keeping me going, it's the hardest thing to describe when you're down and feeling like crap, and that's the only thing you had going through. You put so much faith into it. What have your parents and friends said about your obsession? I think my mom's just happy that I'm happy. I know she's seen a lot of a difference in me since going to see bands live. She knows that that's my happy point, and she never says no to it. I mean, especially now that I'm working and have my own job and I'm old enough to kind of go out there on my own. She knows that it's what keeps me going a lot of the time. I think in a way she's thankful that I have that as such a big influence because she I guess in some ways understands the impact that it has on me. I don't think my dad and stuff really noticed, but I think mum's thankful. Friends wise, I think the majority of my friends, obviously I've met through them, so it's they obviously understand, but whereas my school friends that I used to go to school with won't as much understand how much it means to me to meet certain band members, see certain bands live. They won't understand that feeling, and they don't pretend to either.